All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for July 20th, 2023. We'll start with Alcoa, 30-minute charts, jumping right into the lesson. So the previous trade was this abbreviated short that closed here, right? So that's the close. And then on July 20th, it gaps up here, runs up, runs down through the PSAR, out the dragon, below this level and this level. So what would we call this? What would we call this entry? Collapsing dragon. Correct. Well done. And I'm taking a standard execution risk to the top of the dragon, which is also the PSAR flip. That's about 30 cents. So here is the entry, and I'm just committing to this PSAR all day, and it works. You could commit to the spine of the dragon if you wanted, and it all works. And the initial move goes all the way down to here, up to here, down to here, up to here, up to here. So there was some interesting opportunities inside this space. And when you see a gap that large that fails that much in the first 30 minutes, that's always interesting. We might call that find the mover. On the 30-minute chart, there's an opportunity for a second entry here without working too hard. You get that because a rejection at the edge of the dragon, it rolls over. And then, why do I want to hold overnight risk? So this would give me, on that much risk, 1, 2, 3. If I don't take the second trade, I get 3R. If I add that second one, I get an additional one for 4R. Check or hold. So the 30-minute bars. But there's more. What if I wanted to put some turbo up on that? So this is where the entry is 34.50, and here's where the exit is at 32.90, just on the single trade. Okay. If we shift down to 3 minutes, this is what we get. First of all, just as a point of reference, this yellow dot with the red dot inside it, that's the swing, the hybrid swing, the advanced hybrid swing on a 30-minute chart. Okay? And then this is the trade that exits on the 30-minute just before the close for 3R on a single position. So this green dot with the yellow dot around him, that's the exit on the hybrid swing for 3R. Check or hold? So now we can zoom in on this guy a little bit more. And this is what I'm going to notice, that my range stat is a buck 80. The yesterday's range risk cut in a third is 50 cents. My R10 is 18 cents, call it 20 cents. So this is about, I think this was 30 cents. Sorry about that, just a minute. Happy mouse. So just as a point of reference on scale and size, from the high of the day, that's a range stat move. So if I were to just draw that, it made a range stat in the first 30 minutes, and then a second range stat in the rest of the day. Check or hold? And this is the size. I think it ended up being like 40 cents once I drew the line from here to the top of the. That was, we'll call that a 40 cents, which is halfway between. It's twice the R10 and almost one third of a range risk. It's just, that's a nice round number. I like 40 cents because when I use $400 risk per trade and divide it by 40 cents, I can get 1,000 shares in a chunk. And that's a nice round number to work with. So for reference, 1,000 shares short at 34.40, covering at 32.90 is $1.50 per share, times 1,000 shares is $1,500. Now, what's interesting about that number is that's the price of the foundations course. The lifetime access to the foundations course. I need to have my head examined. So here's what we're going to do now on a turbo. We notice that it closed here. It gapped up to here. It went up. This is an R10 and an R10. It went up 2 minimum manageable risk boxes and then failed back to make a new low of the day right through the opening. So I get short right there. And here's my R10, my 20-cent risk. Check or hold. Gaps up to here, runs all the way up, fails back down, makes a new low, short, 1 minimum manageable risk box, and it's 2 boxes, just back to yesterday's close. Check or hold. What do you mean I'm seeing the light? I've been trading this way for 25 years. So now what I have is my, you let me worry about that. So here's my 2R battle drill. So that's a second position. Here is my 4R battle drill, third position. Here's my 6R battle drill, fourth position. Now you could say that I'm all in. Meanwhile, here's my little one position on the 30-minute swing. By the time that goes in, we've already made 1, 2, 3, 4R on the first position and 2R on the second position. So by the time, and then by the time this goes in, we're getting ready to add the third. So we got 6R in hand from the intraday turbo, of which you can just say, you know what, just go ahead and plan on using market's money to make this entry right here with money that we're going to dedicate from the win from those two positions. And now I have no risk to my core and swing portfolio. That's a significant emotional experience. And then we get the third position and then the fourth position, and then it continues to collapse. So this thing bounces here, rolls over, collapses all the way down to here, and by this time comes back up. That's enough. Those four positions earn 24R. I simply just measured one MMRB off the bottom, and I knew I was over 20, and it's like, geez, that's enough. That's enough for an hour. Now, interestingly, this came all the way back here, and then rolled over, and then gave me a 1, 2, 3 short, came down to the edge of the PSAR and recovered. So I just take the dragon exit for 1R. Not interested in the long side at all. And then when this triple top comes in, and then this PSAR flip happens here, just add a short, cover for another 1R. So the intraday trade returns 26R. And the hybrid swing returns 3R. Nothing. If you don't want 3R, give it to me. I'll take it all day. It was almost 4R, but we'll round it off. So when you're trading the 30-minute bars, it is impossible not to see this move gap up, roll up, and then fail through the low day. You cannot miss that. You just put an alert on it. This was the best mover of the day to the upside, and now it was starting to fail. And the whole market started melting. In standard reliable Alcoa, and a company that makes aluminum cans, is what I'm told by our sister-in-law who ran that company for a while. So that was Alcoa. AI. So this was yesterday's scratch. We got long here, and then today it rolled over, so we scratched that. It continued to fail, so I got short. Took this exit in here for about a half an hour. A little easier to see with that. All right, Caterpillar. We closed. Let me put a big thick line. Oh yeah, you can. The start of today's move is this yellow box, right? So it opened here, rolled up, sold off. That was enough to get out for plus 1R. Cliff. Now, I had talked yesterday here about really wanting that one. I would have scratched me out or -1 out here. But it continued to fail just like Alcoa. So we get that short, and then we cash that one in this same manic move off the bottom. I thought hard on the rollover of adding a position, but I was still digesting Alcoa. Chevron is now the energy sector was good today. Why do I call that Chevron all the time? CVS Health Corporation. So this was yesterday's or 2 days ago, and then we re-entered here and it closed well, and all it did was just continue to grind all day. So we're holding one to about 3R with a stop right about here. So we're giving it that much room. So CVS Pharmacy is fine. I probably, in retrospect, should have taken that exit in here and had no overnight risk. But I like the commitment people made on a big sell-off day for the market that was looking good. Dish, same thing, continued to grind. Just let it run. Devon Energy missed the move in energy. Electronic Arts, yesterday's, excuse me, this is a so yesterday's short here at the PSAR flip. So if we come across that, that's your collapsing dragon. So the collapsing dragon yesterday would have been here. So this little move inside here, this is I think of that as a pocket entry and a PSAR flip and a standard risk, and it closed here. And then all it did today was continue to roll over. Never got close. Could have taken the exit here or here, but I was feeling good from Alcoa. And this one felt weak, so just let it ride. Emerging markets. We scratched the short from yesterday. It came down. It closed like it closed here. So we got out yesterday at a scratch. So I missed. That's what I was trying to say. So I missed the downward move that would have come with the gap. So if I had kept that, it would have given us a +1R. But so what? Risk box and closed poorly, which is well for us. So that feels like there's more room to the downside with 1R. I guess I'm just going to stop apologizing for my decisions. That's what I'll do. Henry Ford Jr. said, never complain, never explain. Or it may have been Iacocca. So this is an SSC. Remember, it's an SSC because it has lower lows. Like if this one had come down to here, then we have higher high, then this would be a Kata 2 and we'd have more confidence. But because it didn't, this is an SSC. It ran up right into here, started to fail, PSAR exit, 2R. Mexico initiated the short, stayed with it all day, 4R in hand. Brazil. Continuing the long from yesterday, we're about an R in hand. Intel took the second entry on this one. So there was a big gap down here, and then it rolled up into the dragon, but it never really threatened the PSAR. So when this comes down and gives an R10 wiggle and fails, on it, short, collapse, holding 1, 2R. And getting ready to test a very crucial support level below 32.25. So that one could be fireworks tomorrow. Intel, remember that name. IP. We were long from yesterday. Today it gapped up, and I managed to get out of it with just a fraction. I thought hard about this one, but I was not in a zero state mentally for letting so much get back. So I didn't take that. And then not being in the zero state, by remembering this trade, then I missed this trade, which should have been here with an exit at the dragon. So get to make two mistakes on that one. IYR, no trade. Just I was caught up with span of control in Alcoa. That really had my attention. So here was the gap down, which is the reason why this is actually a great exit at the Dragon and no overnight risk. So now I get to cash a win instead of eating a loss. But I missed this one. This almost feels like a COTA 2 in some small way. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Today was such a system shock to the broad market that I didn't want to front run a lot of trades. You know, we're at the position in the S&P where it's done this and had a nice big run up. Yesterday was kind of a little decay. Today was a bigger decay. So we're 2 days into that sell-off, and this still feels good. But this is the beginning of a little bit of worry. So I expect, when there's worry, I expect greater volatility. So I don't want to try to predict, is this a gap up or a gap down tomorrow? I just want to see, and then I want to focus on the ones that have the biggest gap, because those are the ones that are most likely to be in play tomorrow. All right, KRE. So this was yesterday's trade. And at the exit, we sold 2 of the 4 positions. So we're into this thing from here. And I can eat this one pretty well. I was getting ready for an exit here. It went halfway and then resumed. So this actually had one of the better recovery moves all day. So this actually feels like a way that if it breaks out above this, I think I can put 2 positions back on using markets money and using the earnings from those 2. So regional banks was a good news story today while the market was suffering. Mattel. So we like, this is a tale of no directional bias. So short paid off. Long, we paid off on the gift. Got short, cashed a nice one. What would we call this entry today? COTA 2. You'd be correct. McDonald's, because why not? Now this one opened here, ran up, came down, ran up, came down, started running up. Get it? Love it. 3R. And it closed above the crucial RL10 peak. So this one, McDonald's would be another one ready to rock tomorrow. Merck, same trade. 3R in hand. Microsoft. So I talked yesterday about wanting to take this, and I couldn't because I had a long side bias. So we missed the chance to take the short at the PSAR flip with the Dragon exit. Today it opened here, sold off through the low of the RL10 from yesterday. So what would we call this entry? Bueller, collapsing Dragon, and then with such a small risk box on the swing, I'm holding 3R on the short side on the strongest tech company in the world. So let's just take 3 and call it a day, because it's holding at a support level where previously it gapped up and then crushed. So could there be a gap up and go tomorrow? Could be. I'm not going to worry about it with a short position overnight. I'd rather just sleep and be refreshed. Marijuana. Speculated into the collapsing Dragon. That turned out pretty well. Then yesterday, then today, it just continued. So at this point, I was like 3R in hand, and why not? Collapsing Dragon. And then I had to get out here. I was going to hold that one overnight, but that last hour of resumption said, let's get out of that while the getting's good. And so this one basically scratched. 1, 2, 3. About 3 on that one. NVIDIA just missed the short completely. Was fully engaged elsewhere. Clean Energy took the intraday short and the dragon exit for 1. Rivian, I was short from yesterday. And it closed here. And then today it sold off harshly. Came and took the dragon exit. I missed this move, but my brother got it, which is good. So I get 1 out of Rivian. We'll show yours next, Bill. So this is what I meant about that long decay in the S&P. So this was that long happy times through the summer, spring, or summer, fall, winter. So this is the first day of discontent. This move that closed poor. Here was the high of the day and the low of the day. Look how low in the daily stack and now if it breaks through 450, look out below. The last price level that showed resistance. I'm going to shift back out to the daily for a moment because I want you to see this big green. So if I'm looking at 30 days here, that's the 30-day box. Here was a strong support. There's your Kata 2 support and go. And then this was the previous peak of the RL10, and then it hardly wiggled at all, and then had this strong move to here. So to me, everything after this move, everything after that little move is the abnormal gains. That's the surprisingly strong move. So if this doesn't hold, now we're back into this channel. So this amount right here is the excess gain that's still left. One of it has given back. There's 2 of it remaining. So to me, on this first full day, that is a really strong and important support level. Guess where that is located? Right at the dragon, at the skin of the dragon. That's your. So if you had actually gotten this Kata 2, that today would have been your dragon exit, and now I am worried about the downside. Today was the day, if there was a pullback, you'd love to see a strong recovery. It didn't. It closed poorly. And now this whole move is at risk. And this is your bottom line. You cannot let it go below 444, which is also really close to the skin of the dragon. So the dragon actually offers you quite a lot of interesting information. There's the peak of the dragon. There's the spine of the dragon. And there is the belly of the dragon. And then there's the PSAR flip, which obviously mathematically corresponds to that peak. So these are, levels of discretion. There are also price ladders on the downside. So if tomorrow this thing opens up and fails through, every one of those could be short, 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 double short. And then your target would be the 10-day low, then the 30-day low. The RL10, and then your 30-day low is here. So a break below 430 means all of this stuff would get negated. So it's game on. In my view, I spend all of my time being concerned about this. If it goes up, I know what to do. Managing the risk is the essential thing. Let it surprise you with upside strength. Nothing wrong with that. All right, Treasuries So I want to go back to the. Oh, I remember what I wanted to do. Right. So the point I wanted to make on that, which I wanted to come back to, was right here. On the 30-minute charts, I want you to notice that this big green line, you could see that as this was a resistance level, which when it finally broke, that's where that nice strong move came from. This had been a resistance level once, twice, and this was a kata too. And when this resistance finally broke, that's when you get this move. They couldn't keep a good man down, right? So where does this big green line come from? It doesn't come from the 30-minute chart. Where it comes from is the daily chart. And it's nothing more than this peak of that RL10. So I just slap that on there so that when this is broken with your kata 2, I can buy this with impunity. And then you get the follow through, the release of great pressure. And that's why this little pullback coming to the edge of the dragon is so key. But the point is that there's a very clear visual specific price level on the daily that creates this green bar. And if you're looking at the daily bars and you're using this kind of strategy, you wouldn't be surprised that there's a lot of people, everybody who's paying attention, is getting ready to buy as soon as they can on a breach of that green line. But if you're looking at any other time frame, like the 30-minute, you don't see that green line naturally stick out to you. Like you might have predicted, hey, it needs to be above that line or something. I think it was right here. Probably screwed it up. And if you were on a 10-minute chart, there's not a clear logical reason why that green line should be there. So you always remember that there are people looking at your target through many different lenses, and their decision supports are set up on their lens. And you may not see that on yours. And so when you get surprised by a move, there you are trying to figure out, why did that move happen? And then what did I miss in my setup? Why did that happen? And how can I add more complexity to my rule set to account for that and predict that? Should I have been able to predict from this structure that this was going to happen? No. But I know if it does violate that line on the daily chart, it has a chance to do that. That's all I need to do is I can adopt a multi-time frame, multi-lens analysis to identify where these key support and resistance levels are. And then that gives me a clear guidance on what to do in here. Go. Happy mouse. All right. So, let me get back in there. Back into 30 minutes. So treasuries, I do better on just intraday trading. I can't swing trade them very well because of the gap. And so yesterday's nice recovery and exit. Today, if I had held that position, all of that goes away because the gap comes down to here, and I would have had to do everything in my power to keep that winning trade from becoming a losing trade. So I just don't hold it overnight. And now I can just say, oh, big gap down. Well, that's good. It might be a big move because it was a big gap. And it just gapped down through the PSAR, so I'll just short it, hold my nose. Nice. And now here's the confirmation. Notice how it tried to hesitate here, and then when it finally broke, you get another big strong move. When these mathematical support levels break, the sudden collapse should not be a surprise. And by the same token, I was looking to see it get to here, but it didn't. So that just tells me when the R10 rolls over, I can just take the exit at the skin of the dragon and cash 2R and have no overnight risk. Tesla, the most important stock in the world. What did we do yesterday? We tried long and scratched. It recovered. Tried long. It did 1, 2, 3 legs. And I said, it's right near 300. Let's just take that and see what happens. Oh, it closed poorly. And then today it gapped down to here. So that's 4R in Tesla from yesterday. No overnight risk. That would have become a minus 2R if we'd held that overnight. And then you find the mover. Standard risk. Second position. Exit here. Why? Because how many people in the world who wished they had owned Tesla here are going to be interested in a 10% sell-off on sale? So why do I want to take any overnight risk? If that thing continues to collapse tomorrow, there's time to get on it. And if it gaps up and starts going, I want to be fresh and alert and ready to go. So why not just take that for 1, 2, 3, 4? Take 4R on this one and have no overnight risk. Now, similar to the Alcoa trade, if we take a look at these entries, and because of the peculiarities of TC2000, I have to, that short is actually right here, but it doesn't straddle that line unless I do that. So when I go core and turbo on this one, if I drop down to the 3-minute charts, this is where those entries look like. Basically a risk box off the top, short, collapsing dragon, recovery at the end of the day, and that's 4R. Now, you could also imagine how if you are using a tighter risk box, especially on this one, if I'm doing the 3-minute bars, I bet you I could get a short right here with a risk box this big. And then compared to the 30-minute risk box, it's half the size for double the R. So just saying. And then finally, 30-minute back on, excuse me, U.S. Steel. No trade on that one today. So lots of good work being done by the people. This is what was very gratifying to me today, was that on a counter trend day, the first day of a significant sell-off in 10 days, let's take a look at what the traders did today. We'll start with my brother. Let's start with this one first. This is Rivian. So I got the 1R out of that thing. He gets the gap and go. Standard risk. Sucking it up. It starts to fail. What about 1.2?
Yep.
And then it comes down, sells off harsh, and then today, 1, 2, 3 entry.
Yep.
Almost a 2R, and then he takes the 1R retracement from peak, and when the R10 crosses the baby, that's his exit. and that's
That's about one
about
three, 1.3.
1.3.
Yeah.
So between
So
those two, about 2.5.
yeah, 2.5 in 3 days, and that's just keeping me fortified because I still have my long position in that
Yeah.
on the 9 day. So this is something for those of you that like Ken's McDonald's trades. This is waste management. So if you think of uh the
The other
world
end of
can
McDonald's.
yeah,
If
the other
McDonald's is
exactly.
the input, waste management is the output. So
Yeah. And even more
MCD
so.
goes into the world
Yeah.
and waste
It gets
management comes out of the world. That's the
yeah.
one thing you can count on.
Yeah.
Somebody's going
Uh,
to do that job.
Yep.
Nobody does it better than them.
So that top line there, that 175.66, that's the all-time high forever. So there's once it goes there, uh there is no resistance. So the last time it had done that is back in 2021. And then all it did was move up what was that? 50 bucks, 60 bucks.
125
Yep. So 53%.
to 170.
Yeah.
The last time it breached an all-time high.
Yeah. So uh
Even
for the
here, it
nine
gave a
day.
little. It gave a little burst here to that one,
Yeah.
but it didn't lose money. So now the idea is, as you're knocking on the door with the promise of heavenly glory,
You can just keep
why not?
taking little
And
chunks.
and now he's getting little bites along the way.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm front running that. I'm in at 180, or excuse me, 160, whatever that is, 165 something,
167, yeah, 166. So it's
and just
about eight
waiting.
percent,
Yep.
about 8% into it.
I'm going to be all over a second position at 175 because
Yeah.
uh however many bazillion years ago that was that we saw, well, what do we do when it goes runaway train? You just keep doing it. Mattel, I know it's been mucking around a bit, but
Yeah, I
I'm
wanted to
still
show just while we're thinking about that. There's not been many uh, Godzilla trades lately
mhm.
because of reasons. But here's a legacy Godzilla trade in Carvana.
Oh boy. Oh
This was
boy.
the this was the mother of all Godzillas, which paid you
Yep.
to here, and then you got another Godzilla over here, and that thing has gone from 10 to 58, and
Yep.
then back to 46.
If that thing goes again and
It's in
breaks that 57,
what we can say for sure is Carvana is in play.
oh yeah. Well,
Carvana is in play.
I want to
That's a
ask
move in the last 10 days. From 10
anybody
days, it
here in
went from
America,
25 to 58.
yeah,
So that's a
anybody in
100%
America
move in 10 days.
trying to get a used car, who do you go to? I've bought and sold 4 cars in the last year using Carvana. It just
So this was like an earnings call and then a gyration sell off, and then it held support here above all that. If you don't think that's in play, you'd be wrong. If
yep,
this fails, it'll get caught up in this, and then if
yep,
36 fails, you should have a short order on that until canceled.
yep.
You should have a short position to fill at 36 as a collapsing dragon.
By
And
the
then
way,
if you want to tactically trade that, you can. But here's the setup right in this little business. Here's your
yep,
critical state yellow zone. And the big win to the downside is this one, two, three, all the way back. And then this one gives you, out of this breakout, it gives you 1, 2 to the top. And then anything above 57, look out above. So
one,
this yellow box right here turns out to be a really useful. It's not even on my list over here, but it's on my long-term Godzilla management list.
yep. One last thing on waste management. They're going to announce their earnings in 5 days.
So
Which
it's going to
always
be in heavy play by
Yep,
insiders for the next 5 days.
get ready. Yep.
All right, so continuing on, back to the
Regularly scheduled
traders.
program. Yep.
So to review, on a surprise reversal day after a beautiful 10-day upward move, our traders were non-directionally biased enough that we could get bang, 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 and this is not even getting this move from cognitive exhaustion. And that's not even getting that continuation. So call it a C minus day and 3.4 on that one. And 3.6 on Canadian. And that's only getting the fat middle, right? And that's not getting this. It's not getting this. It's only that little window for 3.6. You don't have to carry it all. You just do your part. And this one, the mother of all trades in natural gas, not even taking the Z3 pinch. Are you kidding me? That's 4. He does get this one for 0.3. What do you do if you accidentally double your trade size? You just focus on trade management. That's what you do. More on the Aussie. Doesn't get this one. Gets a little bit of a loss. Emotionally exhausted. Does get that one. So pretty good day at work. Here's Damien. I love the Kata 2. I love the cut. I'd like to see this one. Not later than here, which that's the one you got. That's a potential. It's below the skin of the dragon. It's clearly below this. I don't mind you not chasing. You got paid. And more importantly, you re-entered and got paid. Might have had an opportunity for a second position. But 2.5. And that's not even taking this one with the Kata 2. And that's not even taking this one. So the S&P was in play. This is, whoa, that's a happy mouse right there. It's a lot more sensitive than my pen. Notice this key rollover. That's why I think you might can get this sooner. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I want to say there. Good work. The Adventures of Tim. -1, -0.6, +0.3. Here's the break that we want. The VWAP break. This is still pretty good. Gets paid, gets paid. -0.8. The PSAR flip trade makes the difference. +0.8 on Intel. He's grinding it. This one, what I want to show again, that VWAP. There's that VWAP, right? So this one crosses the VWAP. That one works. This one doesn't work, so he scratches it. You can get long right there. And then that's even better. And there's a Kata 2, even better. And here's a Kata 2, that works. VWAP collapse. So the VWAP is your friend. PSAR is your friend. Point 0.8 washes out the previous loss. Here's 1.9 on Merck. Uh, crunch, crunch. Great exit, great reentry. Quick win, quick loss, quick win. A lot of interference from his job today, but still 2.0. Sum total for today was 2. Pretty good work making 2 on a day when the market gave back a lot. All right, now our little relaxed trader, Hamad. The open. Kata 2 takes the wrist box to here. Crush. Scratch, scratch. Micro losses. Micro gain. Micro loss. 1.1. I'm not opposed to those. Those don't win or lose much. And worth a shot. Microsoft. 1.7. Gets the big paydays on the big downward moves. Not going to review that. Pretty clear. Gets big paydays on the big downward moves in NVIDIA for 2.4. Carefully managed all the way through. Pfizer gets 1.7 on the big moves up. Doesn't lose much in the chop. So that's a 7R day. And this is the least surprising. Maintaining the smaller position sizing was very relaxing, and trusting the PSAR. That's what you do. Agnieszka for 2R in the dollar yen on an hourly chart with a Kata 2 PSAR break and an orderly exit at the edge of the dragon, just like downtown. And my brother's charts here. I will get the daily finished printing up here in a minute. The database has given me some issues. But that's everything I wanted to cover for today. And we shall see you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging in there.